Hello. Good evening. So, my name is Chris Savory. I'm the writer of this play, which was first performed in its original version as Drake the Adventurer in 1988. So this is 34 years later, the updated version, which is about the Spanish Armada, 1588. It's part of my PhD project, University of Plymouth, my PhD, and this is a major part of the exercise, seeing how it goes down with an audience. So I'm pretty petrified. I'd like to introduce you to the actors. Now, some of the actors were actually in my original theatre company from 34 years ago. So we are a band that's come back. And we also have Luke Smith here. Luke, who was also in Plymouth Presents, and John Hutchings. Yes? They're so worried that I'm going to get them on stage. I'd like to introduce you to Jane Trigella, who was the original Elizabeth.
No, I wasn't.
Purposes of this
But she was in the original play.
I was thrown out of the Pirates' choir.
Oh yeah, we were harsh in those days.
Yeah.
Mr. Blackwell, Andy Blackwell is Drake. I'm playing Drake again. Mark Stacey was also in Plymouth Presents. So we have a bit of the old crowd together. We also have a new crowd, which is my friends from Mahjong. I did a bit of teaching here a couple of years ago before COVID and met these great actors who actually inspired me to change my course from performance to creative writing. I'd like to introduce Ed.
Hello.
Katie. Hi. Harrison.
Hiya.
Tom.
Hiya.
Ryan.
Hello.
And also, because I'm renowned for getting people from anywhere, this is Mr. Kevin Kelway, Dorcas Media, who's done a fantastic job with all the publicity that we've had and got you all here tonight. And Victoria, who I did my MA writing course with at University of Plymouth. So we have a wide selection of people. And yeah, bear with us because we lost 2 people this morning with COVID. But never mind, the show must go on. So, just to start things up, I'd like you all, have you all got a shanty sheet? We're just going to sing a couple of shanties just to warm you up a little bit. And you can also help in the play, because we have the 2 shanties in the play. And you'll be part of creating the crowd. So we're going to start off with Spanish Ladies. If you'd like, cue from the back. If you all like to stand up.
Farewell and adieu to you, Spanish lady. Farewell and adieu to you, ladies of Spain. For we've received orders to sail for old England. And we hope in a short time to see you again. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike sound into the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 days. We hold our ship too, when the wind comes southwest, boys. We hold our ship too, he's sounding to change. There's 45 fathoms to the west sandy bottom, so we swear down main yard and up channel midway. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike sound into the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 days. The first man we sighted was called the Godman. Next rain and off Plymouth, off Portsmouth to White. We sailed by Beachy, by Fairlight and Dover, and then we bore up for the Southbourne Heights. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 days. And the signal was made for the Grand Fleet to anchor, and more in the Downs that night for to lie. Let go your shake painter, let go your cat stopper, all up your blue garnets that change and ships fly. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues. Now let seas, until we swept soundings in the Channel of England, from Ushanti to Scilly is 35 leagues.
Yes. Now, I hope you all noticed my deliberate mistake. There's about 12 different versions of this, and I've printed the wrong one off. But it's still exciting, isn't it? Right, we're going to try the next one, which is Made of Plymouth, which was called, well, it's also called Made of Amsterdam. So it's about a young Plymouth girl that was a bit loose with her
What
reins.
page is this on in our script?
What page, Chris?
On our script?
Very fussy, aren't they? It's all right. We can just sing it. So this is the second one, Made of Plymouth. Both these shanties were of the time. They were very important for the seamen. It was part of trying to create this culture because you know, we have to remember we're going back in time. There wasn't really a British Navy around at the time. It was used to pirates, it was used to corsairs, and not many people really wanted to serve in it. This was one way of starting to create a bond amongst people, English people, other nations did the same sort of thing. So that's the history of the shanties. So we'll have a go at Plymouth Bay, see if I've got the right one this time.
In a rolling ships rolling through my
Well done. Audience participation every step. Okay, so now we're going to start the glory bits. So, we're going back into 1588. There was a big power that was determined to crush a little power. Heard that story before? It's, you know, difficult to remember, but at the time the Spanish Empire was all powerful. King Philip was a very powerful man, and England and Elizabeth was under a lot of pressure. It was a very poor country. Elizabeth was Protestant, Philip was Catholic. There was a lot of pressure, and basically Philip took it as the word of God that he was to destroy the heretic religion as he saw it. So we're going to go back in time. I'm going to be introducing the scenes and the characters. We are going to be doing a Brechtian performance, which is what I've learnt it's called. So we're going to be having, obviously we haven't got staging, we haven't got props. We're going to be swapping characters around, but I will be introducing each character and hopefully each scene so you understand where we are. It's not been done before, so bear with us. It'll be fun. Okay. 1588. A room above the Mariners' Inn in London. Alice is an old woman in her 70s, and she's talking to her friend Patience, who is tending her in bed. Patience finds a poem.
Where did you find that, Patience?
It was hidden at the bottom of your drawer.
Let me see. My eyes are gone. Can you read it?
I'll try, but the writing is very faded. Something like, die dancing for the gypsy queen, envelop in her folds, beat brave upon your heartless chest, or kiss the rings of gold, rush war away from campfire blues, away to hills beyond, hand step your way where witches flew in the silvering wood by the pond. Love her but leave her, oh leave her and flee. Or only the fool will remain, vanish and swift in the fog and the air, and every new wish with refrain. You and the embers, you only will know on a dark wispy evening long past, under the spell of a gypsy fell, oh the glory that waned oh so fast.
Haven't heard that in years.
What's it about?
A young man called Cornelius wrote it for a friend of mine called Deborah. She died a few years back.
Why have you got it?
Deborah couldn't bring herself to keep it, but couldn't throw it away either. She gave it to me to look after.
What does it mean?
It's quite a long story behind it.
I'd love to hear it.
Really?
Yes, really.
Well, he wrote it after he went to fight the Armada.
The Armada, gosh, he must have been brave.
Funnily enough, he always saw himself as a coward.
But he fought, didn't he?
He did, and for that we must all be grateful.
Do you remember the Armada?
Like it was yesterday. Plenty of sailors from here fought against it.
We've never talked about it.
Time moves on, I suppose, Patience.
Yeah, but its defeat was the outstanding achievement of Gloriana's reign.
Undeserved. Elizabeth was a great monarch, as ruthless and harsh as any of her ministers or commanders, if not more so.
Did you ever see her?
Once or twice in processions.
Why have you never told me any of this?
Because you never asked, did you?
I suppose not.
And why should you? Every generation thinks that their generation is the wisest it's ever been, and lives with the belief that the present is mightier than the past. The power of hindsight and joy spending time raking over the dying embers of forgotten times makes the young feel mighty and knowing, to have a greater morality and understanding of the human condition than their elders. The young are the owners of history, and their interpretation is the only history worth talking about. They have no interest in facts as they happen, so never ask those of us who lived through it, lived through the past, and what we saw and what we thought.
Well, I want to listen. Take me back to Cornelius, back to the Armada.
To 1588.
Yes.
A date in the calendar, a mark in the sand. The culmination of years that involved small interactions, petty dramas, ambition and intrigue. A time where fear of the Spanish invasion stalked this land, along with the shadowy threat of rebellion. The time is of Elizabeth's court, of Burghley and Walsingham and Leicester. The time of Europe's domination by the fanatical presence of Philip II, his ministers and commanders. The time of Drake and Medina Sidonia. The time of ordinary men and women waking up and going to bed, eating, breathing, laughing, crying as they face the obstacles that life had to throw at them all.
Take me there now, please.
Well, it's difficult to know where to start. But here goes. Because Elizabeth was childless, the heir apparent was Mary, Queen of Scots, who, although a good and courageous woman, had one fault that made her ascension intolerable to those in power behind the English throne. What was that? She was a Catholic. The new religion of Protestantism was shakily establishing itself in England, and for many reasons, though few to do with God, the country as a whole wished to remain free from the Pope to develop in its new relationship with our good Lord.
So Mary had to die,
She did. She had to die.
and that's when all the trouble began.
We go to a laundry room at Richmond Palace. Bess enters with a basket of laundry.
Here's a laundry, Deborah.
Are you trying to kill me? That's the third lot this morning.
The Queen's having nightmares again, and she keeps waking up in a sweat. She needed sheets of bedclothes after. I'm sorry.
Oh, God. That stinks. Elizabeth may well be a queen, but she smells as bad as you or me.
Oh, you don't smell like her at all. Excuse me.
You wretch. Look at me and tell me how beautiful I am.
Stop it, Deborah.
I am Elizabeth, Queen of England. I command you. If you flatter me in at least 5 different languages, and if for one moment I hear hesitation in your voice, I will have you sent to the Tower quicker than a suitor could unbutton your blouse.
Stop it, Deborah. That is enough. If Blanche finds out we've been messing around and the Queen's clothes, we'll both be for the chop. Quite literally.
It's true though, isn't it? Elizabeth can't accept her youth and beauty have gone and acts as though she's still only 17.
She's getting old, it's true, and spends hours with wigs and paints and clothes preparing for an image for the world to see. And it works too. She still has men vying for her attention.
What do they see in her with her black teeth and her bald head?
They see power. And it blinds them.
Yeah, but even that's false, isn't it?
Respect.
Well, then Her Majesty can't even pay you ladies for all your finery.
It's not true. You shouldn't say such things.
Your dress has seen better days.
It's a present from the Queen herself. One of her old ones, and it will look brand new with a patch or two.
Patches for a lady of the court.
The Queen has told us all to make an effort to save for the war with Spain. Rather a patch on my dress than the rule of Philip.
But can you even afford the patches?
Of course I can. I'm a lady of the court.
Well, why not make your own dress?
If I could get hold of some cheap linen.
I know someone.
Do you? Could you get me any if I had the money?
I'm going there tonight as it happens, so yes.
Could you? I'd love to make a dress to help myself look as pretty as I can.
Oh yeah? Anyone in particular?
Don't tell anyone, will you?
My lips are sealed.
I rather think that Sir Walter Raleigh has an interest in me.
Oh my, you have set your sights high.
Enter Cornelius, disguised as a woman.
Ladies, can I hide here for a few moments?
Oh, Cornelius, what are you doing?
Well, who's Cornelius? I am Lady Battersby.
I'm sorry about this, Bess.
I'm not sure I understand what's going on.
Oh, well, allow me to explain. I'll have you know that I'm a highly respectable lady of society, who, through no fault of her own, was forced to marry the wonderfully rich and wonderfully dull Earl of Shropshire in order to preserve the vast estate my father has left me.
I'm really not sure.
Stop messing around, Cornelius.
My husband, poor soul is no longer able to supply the excitement that a lusty young woman such as myself requires in the bedroom. So I took it upon myself to ask our gardener to create a romantic fantasy by dressing up as a dashing pirate and leaving a treasure map around my house with clues that would lead me to where he was hidden in a closet. So there he was, lying in wait with a dagger clenched in his teeth, when suddenly the door was thrown open, and there lied my husband. The face of my husband, who had returned unexpectedly from the country. Obviously, he fled immediately, followed swiftly by me, who just ran and ran and ran and ran and ran and ran and ran, until I stumbled through the door into this room.
Oh, that's enough, Cornelius.
Did I fool you both?
Who is this man, Deborah? Do you know him?
Cornelius Rafferty, at your service.
Cornelius, the Cornelius? I'm afraid so.
I've heard a lot about you, sir.
No, I'm glad to hear it, and you
Elizabeth Throckmorton, but you can call me Bess.
are honoured to make your acquaintance.
What are you doing here, Cornelius?
Well, I felt like trying out my acting skills. Said I was here to help you, Deborah, and the guards let me in immediately.
You need to find some honest work.
I get by with my escapades as a poet and troubadour.
Like I said, you need to do some honest work.
There's such little real work about. There's no trade and commerce since the talk of war with Spain. The docks are so quiet that some ships have grown grass on their decks and their masts are taking root.
Well, you work on the ships if we go to war.
Going to sea? Going to war? Thank you. That's a kind thought. I think I should decline for now.
Oh, that's enough, Cornelius. You don't leave sharpish. I'll have a garden myself.
See you with the mariners later, Deborah?
Yes. Yes, actually. No, can we?
What a whirlwind.
I can only apologise.
It's fine, there's no need. He's every bit the character they've been describing to me. How long have you known him?
Well, we met a year ago.
Do you love him?
I think I do. It's just
what?
I don't see a future for us. There is a poet, a dreamer. He can't commit to anything, and I need more than that. I lost my husband in the Dutch wars. I have 2 young children to look after.
Sorry, didn't know.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to survive like the rest of us, so don't feel sorry for me. My mother looks after Billy and Will and helps with my home, so things aren't so bad.
Enter Blanche, one of the Queen's maids.
What's going on here?
Oh, I'm just dropping off the laundry.
And gossiping.
We were not.
Don't answer me back there.
Oh, it was my fault, Mum. I'm sorry. Bess was kindly asking me how things were at home, and before I knew it, I was crying and bawling like a baby about my woes. My unhappiness started to seep, and I just couldn't help it.
Well, you're here to work, Deborah, nothing more, nothing less. Be kind and a gentle soul. So on this occasion I will forfeit his punishment. However, if I ever hear of you talking of bad nature again, I will dismiss you. Do I make it clear?
Oh, yes, Mum.
Meanwhile, in a room in the Richmond Palace, Burley, Leicester and Walsingham are in earnest discussion.
But Elizabeth's rage is not only paralysing the government, it's hindering the consultations required for the prevention of Philip's revenge. I know we expected a Catholic response to the execution of Mary, but no one could have anticipated how badly the Queen would take the matter.
She tried to shift the blame on us.
And yet she signed the execution warrant.
She did.
Yes, so?
She wanted the woman dead, but couldn't bear to give the order, so we took matters into our own hands. Davison brought the signed warrant to the Privy Council, where we agreed to have it sent to Fotheringhay for the trial and execution before Elizabeth had the chance to change her mind. She says that it was her duty to inform, but we all know her indecisiveness. When it comes to all matters of state, so we acted in the best interest of England.
Yeah, she spent her life agreeing to someone minute, only to change her mind moments later. It's beyond infuriating.
And normally it's just a game she plays for the world, the virgin queen of innocence, not the jablicious mistress whose mind is full of mischief and illicit deeds, but whose hands are clean from the stain of rule.
Except at this time. Her grief seems genuine.
She didn't sleep for days after Mary's death, and still has nightmares about it, but Mary was complicit in the Babington plot, murdered in it, so she could ascend to the throne. And if she'd escaped punishment, Elizabeth would have been exposed to many more attempts in her life. But our actions have turned her against us.
Can you believe she calls me a traitor? If it hadn't been for Lady Cobham, I don't think I'd ever returned to court.
Ah, my triumphant of traitors and deceivers.
Your
Majesty.
And what subject of my misrule have you been discussing today?
None, Your Majesty.
Poppycock. Don't think I know what you are all truly like, and don't think you are forgiven because you have been recalled to my court. The only reason I brought you back is to keep an eye, so I can keep a check on your plots and intrigues against me. Men like you must be ruled, or you will try and wrest rule from its true appointee and use it to misrule yourselves.
You're too harsh, madam.
Then it is the business of living that has made me so. Let me guess, you've been discussing how to change the mood I'm in. Well?
We would never presume.
You are your own woman, Your Majesty.
Am I? Are you sure it is not you who wield the power that I just comply with?
All we ever do is advise you, as we are see best, but you are the final arbiter.
As I was with the murder of Mary.
It wasn't murder.
Then what was it?
It was the execution of a traitor.
I call it murder.
You had no choice.
As my father didn't when he executed my mother, despite her being a queen.
That was different.
How? Kill a queen and all queens are mortal.
Yeah, well, I dispute that. Where we go?
No. You're here to just serve me, you say. Well, I dispute that. The way I see it, all you've ever done is to serve yourselves. Help yourselves to the riches of England while she's had a weak and feeble queen. You think that because I'm a woman, I am vulnerable and an easy target.
Not true, Your Majesty.
Quite right, it isn't true. Not at all. I am my father's daughter. I have not bent my knee to Rome, as much as I have not submitted to Philip. I have compromised, prevaricated, sown confusion, done whatever it has taken to keep this country free as a Protestant entity, and will not give in now, despite your actions which will draw the might of Philip upon us.
Well, war has been inevitable with Spain for quite some time.
And yet I have single-handedly managed to avoid it. I know your lordships think that wars are always the solution to our woes, but wars must be paid for by taxation, which means that our people suffer financial hardship for no better reason than your lack of patience and persuasive diplomacy.
None of us desire conflict, Your Majesty.
Maybe, but conflict is on its way, whether we like it or not. I know I have been withdrawn of late, but I have been in mourning. However, that time has passed. I am the Queen and the only person that can save us from the might of Spain. What news have we of Spain, anyway?
But Philip has announced his intention to conquer England and replace our Protestant religion with that of Rome. Since his conquest of Portugal, he commands the mightiest fleet in the Western world. And my spies inform me that the Armada is close to completion.
So Drake's foray to Cadiz last year has yielded little long-term benefit.
It bought us time to prepare.
And are we?
Oh, are we what, Your Majesty?
Don't play the fool with me, Burley!
We can expect no help from anywhere, and even our countrymen are divided. Seminary priests have detached from us, the loyalty of many great families. We are surrounded by enemies.
And my country's on the verge of bankruptcy.
The Armada must never reach our shores. Our only chance of survival is to destroy it at sea.
Have you talked to our naval commanders about
We
this?
have, Your Majesty.
In that case, we must see them immediately.
Meanwhile, in the Escorial Palace in Spain, King Philip, his daughter Isabella, and her friend Donna Ava are talking.
Isabella, is it lunchtime already?
It is, Father.
You've caught me off guard listening to the monks. Isn't it a heavenly sound? It's why I built this place, so I could always hear the sound of heaven from the mouths of the holy.
Your devotion is never ending.
We've just heard about the death of Santa Cruz, Father.
It is sad news indeed. He was a great and worthy servant for the crown of Spain.
So what will happen to the Armada?
Its construction will go on as before.
Nevertheless, it is a blow.
I have the matter in hand, Isabella.
But you've invested so much time and energy. I pray your efforts are not wasted.
God will decide the Armada's fate, not I. So there's no need to be melancholic.
That's what I tell her, but she takes no notice of me.
Because she wants to imitate me, that's why, always has done.
Really? He's teasing Donna over.
She quite rightly looks up to me and has always tried to follow my example. There's no better way to keep her quiet than giving her paper and ink so she can dissolve into a world of studiousness.
You both work too hard.
I have no choice. Every day papers come from all corners of the empire, from Naples and Sicily and Milan, from Mexico and Peru and Brazil, from Goa and African Sofala, and all the islands of the eastern and western seas. My toil is unending.
Honestly, Donna Anna, he never stops. From the moment he rises every day and attends to affairs or correspondence and other documents that need his signature.
Enough, Isabella.
Who has been asking me questions about you?
What did you want to know?
I suppose I'm just intrigued by your relationship with Elizabeth, and how you even contemplated marriage to her.
After the death of my wife Mary, her sister, I did propose the idea of marriage to her. She was a beautiful woman, rich and well-bred, but with something diffident about her. A closed orchid who would only open up her magnificence to a select few. Elizabeth has a way about her, an air.
So what happened?
She chose religion and her country instead.
As have you, my grace.
Except that my religion is real, hers is not. She is a heretic who has been seduced by the devil to believe in something that defies the mystical, magical forces of God. Forces which are infinitely stronger than the puerile rationality of man.
The battle by Catholicism to defeat the heretics must not and will not be lost. It's just surprising that God has let the devil take such a stronghold in the heart of England and Elizabeth.
God is testing us and our faith in him, and I believe the Catholic Church needs more focus. At the moment it's like the seven winds scouring the seven continents, blowing hot and cold, angry and gentle, going round and round in circles to little effect. However, if we went in one direction, it could be a hurricane, a tornado, destroying anything in pursuit of its goals. I have always seen the point of rules, the need for order, and will not shy away from confronting those who lose their faith. Life, without the laws of God, is random and without meaning. I cannot see how every individual following their own path, selfish and weak, could form any kind of a decent society. The law provides structure, its own morality. God is directing me to return to England and his fold. It is a challenge I dare not refuse.
I completely agree, Your Majesty.
Let us all take a brief walk before we eat.
Do tell us more about Elizabeth.
Meanwhile, back in England, outside the Mariners Inn, Deborah is talking to the spy, Sebastian.
What do you want, Sebastian?
You know perfectly well, Deborah.
But I've only just started working in the laundry.
It doesn't matter, just tell me what you've got.
The Queen is tormented by Mary's murder and fearful of Philip's revenge. Her bed sheets are sodden with sweat from her nightmares and they're undermining her confidence. She's been consulting with Dr. D and does not like what she hears. Her financial situation is so dire that her ladies have to use their patches to mend their dresses. It is the opinion of her ministers that England can only offer token resistance to Spain, and it will surely fall.
The image of Gloriana is image only. The Queen of Heretics must fall.
So you will pay me now?
For snippets of gossip and hearsay.
You said you came in advance, Sebastian.
I did indeed, but I'm not going to need a lot more before I release these purse strings. Keep me bringing information, Deborah. And I'll decide its value and when.
I can't believe you're my husband's brother. What has happened to make you so cruel?
It's just a faithful son of the Holy Church, who who's tired of hiding his religion in this unhappy country, that is all. The Pope and the King Philip of Spain are determined to restore the faith in England and to oust Queen Elizabeth. There will be an invasion, and I intend to be a part of it, just as you are.
Look, I'm only doing this to pay off my debts. Debts incurred because Simon was killed in action, fighting for this country. A hero for a moment. Forgotten footnote of history. Elizabeth has her victories, but she dismisses those who gain them. No compensation for grieving widows, no thought of bereft children and their future.
Surely you support removing her.
And replacing her with what? A foreign king and religion which is equally as cruel? I consider what I'm doing as a means to the Queen to make amends for Simon's death.
It still makes you a traitor, Deborah.
I do what I have to do to survive, and I'm my own judge and jury of my conscience.
We all have our reasons to behave as we do. But at least just fight on the side of God.
If God was involved, he would make you pay me now.
Just bring me the money and the information's yours.
Meanwhile, inside the Mariners Inn, Cornelius is finishing his act.
Well, thank you very much. For my final offering this evening, I wish to recount a true dialogue between the most powerful man on earth, King Philip of Spain, and his naval commander, Recalde. It's about our hero, Drake! Hooray! And shows what esteem he is held by these men. For the sake of efficiency, I shall be playing both parts. My left side is the king, and my right side is Recalde. So, let me take you to the Escorial Palace in Spain. How did Drake manage to plunder our ships in the Pacific? Well, after the storms had almost destroyed him over the freezing seas, sailed Drake on and on. For far away he heard the west wind cry to her beloved, and far away he heard the piercing scream of death-defying laughter. How long have you been a poet, Reclord? I'm sorry, Your Majesty. More of Drake. Nevertheless, Drake sailed relentlessly west until the moon arrives to help his plight and bid the seas relent him, help him capture the Nuestra Sonora de la Concepcion. And he closed in on it, sent his men aboard to open the hold, reveal the treasure in the form of silver and gold bullion. Oh, enough! Enough. I will hear no more of Drake. That man is a pirate and a heretic and will spend eternity in hell! All right? You look a bit flustered.
We need to talk, Cornelius.
I'm all ears.
Wow.
Well, first, can I tell you how beautiful you look tonight?
I need
And
to...
how being with you has changed my life.
Really?
Of course. You're my muse, my inspiration. Since I've met you, words skip into my mind with the carelessness of newborn lambs.
You know how much I care for you, Cornelius.
Care for me? I thought you loved me.
Cornelius, let me speak.
No, I'm sorry. How have you got?
We can't go on like this. I have Billy and Wilf to look after, and I need them. More than a fool by my side. Unless you can offer me some security for us, then I need to look elsewhere for companions.
Oh, Deborah, don't be like this. I have ambition. I usually make a decent living as an entertainer. It's just, of late, with talk of the war, living in this town is wiping me out. Londoners have become crooks who charge over the odds for everything. They'd even pay for the daylight and air if they know how to bottle it and sell it.
Can't you be serious for a moment?
Of course.
And get me a drink while I talk to Alice.
Alice takes Deborah behind the bar to show her some fabrics.
There's so much choice.
My husband and I are expanding our business interests.
That wasn't meant to happen.
So is it true? No, you're on the wrong page. So is it true you've been to work at the Queen's Laundry?
I have, but it's not very glamorous, far from it. Still, I made friends with a girl called Bess. One of those of the Queen's ladies. She's given me... on a minute.
Sorry.
She's given me money to buy linen to patch a dress, and I wondered if you could do me a special deal so I could keep in with her, you know. I really need the job, and an ally like her could save me from the Queen's temper.
I can do you a special deal on fabrics when I get to page 26.
125. On the end now.
Yeah, is Elizabeth as writing as she seems?
When she smiles, it's pure sunshine that everyone basks in. But when a storm comes, thunder falls heavily on all alike.
Whatever fault she may have, she is still the strongest woman in this country.
She is, and let's pray she can find the strength to defeat Philip.
Indeed.
This cloth and ribbon is perfect. Thank you.
I'm sure there's plenty more to choose from.
Here's the money for it.
Here's extra, just in case you need it.
Right, you're a true friend, and I'm so sorry about this glass.
Are you sure you're all right, Deborah?
Look, Cornelius, I haven't got long, but you need to understand this. As much as I love you, and I truly do, I cannot be with you anymore. I have too many responsibilities and live in the real world where money is everything, or our lives are not a dream, Cornelius. Oh.
You are everything I want, Deborah.
Oh.
I've always desired a woman who has something about them that I, and only I, can bring to life. A woman as beautiful as a petal, but with a manner about her that caresses and soothes, and like a brook, and who will make the hairs on my neck stand up. A woman with the slow purpose of a leopard or a jaguar. Who's followed by that slight hint of perfume, that slight hint of danger and adventure, who memorises all that look at her.
Memorizes or mesmerizes? Our love is not as strong as you think.
Oh, but we both love the silence of rain-soaked fields,
Aye.
the clouds that billow, the forming dew on the tips of petals, the morning before it grows into days we cherish forever.
It's not enough.
But what about last Sunday, when we walked across the countryside to that green field, surrounded by a hedge of perfume-smelling roses? That was a magical moment in our lives. I plucked a rose and used the petals that fell on the ground, and then you kissed me, and you said you loved me.
They were just words, and words are powerless. They don't pay the rent or feed hungry mouths.
Words are more powerful than you think.
We can still be friends, Cornelius.
More out. Well, then it's up to me to win your heart again.
Meanwhile, back at Richmond Palace, Elizabeth is having a dream, and in it is King Philip and her sister Mary Tudor, who was married to Philip 30 years before. Elizabeth is watching them.
I said I'd write you a sonnet, lady. Here it is. But to form a beginning, shall I talk of beauty in the shady corners of love? Or of creatures that sing the greatness of truth and reality? Perhaps I should mention neither, because no unyieldy comparisons need be used to heighten my own feelings. I pause, then only to say that in love with you, I walk naked on the naked moors, and make love in the wind as strongly as it blows over the heather, while I hold your hand.
That is the most beautiful thing anyone has ever said to me.
That feeling which closes us to the world is felt by us both. It makes me want to reach up to the moon and dance until at last the whole twinkling world can come to beach and fall and surf with the moon. It gives me strength that helps me out and stare the arrogant assertion of an unclimbed mountain faces. It lets me know as well how elegant we mortal beings are, and with what sense we can feel in touch with the burning stars. This is a strange passion between us, as tense as the sea when a storm brews from afar.
We will have children, and we can be happy.
Of course, and our union, we will bring peace between countries.
My sister.
Elizabeth, will end up a broken woman, bitter and scorned for her religion, which will have been wiped from the face of the earth.
Wrong, Philip, wrong. I am still alive, and I am queen. A Protestant queen of England.
But not for much longer. I know who you are, Elizabeth, and I will destroy you!
My men are ready.
Leave my love alone, sister.
Oh, Mary, how easily you are deceived by hollow words.
They are not hollow.
They are and always were.
The dream ends. Walsingham enters.
Walsingham,
Your Majesty.
I have news from Dr. D.
That sounds ominous. His news usually is.
He is a man of science.
But even he concedes astrology is, as yet, more art than science.
He has spent days looking at charts and has faced some interpretations on what he sees. The alignments of the planets is most unusual. Mars is due to take ascendant 3 days after the anniversary of my birth, and also on that day there is a full moon, which means the rise of one great empire and the fall of another.
Which empire is to rise and which is to fall?
He does not know.
England will not fall while you are queen.
But what if his prophecy means it is?
Well, if your Majesty only hears what she chooses to hear, then I cannot help you. The forces that shape our world are greater than all of us, your Majesty. How can I promise they'll conspire in your favour, even though you are queen? All I know is that when the storm breaks, everyone acts in accordance, with some their own nature. Some are done with terror, some flee, and some hide, and some spread their wings like eagles and soar the winds and currents.
Oh, you are a wise man, Walsingham.
And you, madam, are a very great lady.
So what do you need from me?
To remind you not to be swayed by the arguments and the need for more money. We all know it has the means to support itself. What finances are available must be spent on my network of spies.
But it puts me in a very difficult position.
But one you must not falter from. Our greatest weapon is information on our enemies and the spreading of false narratives.
I will not crumble, Walsingham.
Exit Walsingham. Enter Drake and Leicester.
Ah, gentlemen, be seated. As you know, Sir Francis, despite your success last year in Cadiz, the threat from the Armada is imminent. We need to know if the Navy is ready to defend us.
It is my ardent belief that despite being considerably smaller on most levels to the Spanish Empire, England has developed a navy not only to match the Armada, but can defeat it. These, Your Majesty, are drawings of the ships my cousin Sir John Hawkins has patiently been developing over the last few years, and at considerable personal expense.
Show me.
Well, notice the important improvements in ship construction in rigging, and the detachable topmast, which can be hoisted in good weather, but stowed in heavy seas. See here how the mast is stepped forward and the sails cut flatter. With the fore and aft castles reduced in size, these ships are built for speed.
How does that help us?
Well, the Spanish galleons are bulky and difficult to manoeuvre. That means we can dart quickly into range with our cannons before they can round on us. Our nimbleness will give us an unexpected advantage.
And you think this will defeat the Armada?
It will help.
What do you need from me?
Well, it would be helpful if we could guarantee the men a wage.
You think I have money, Drake, but I don't. The treasure you seized from the capture of the San Felipe was swallowed up in an instant. England is a small and fragile country, fighting enemies far more powerful than itself. So we must rely on our wits and bravery to remain free. Qualities you have in abundance, Drake.
But it's imperative that the Navy, as well as having the best fleet of ships in the world, also has the best seamen. A smaller number of well-motivated and better-paid men is more effective than a large group of uninterested men.
I cannot agree to that. You have the means to compensate the men through the spoils of war.
You mean act as a corsair once more?
What, with the Queen's corsair, if it makes you feel better? And unlike last year's venture to Cadiz, you will not be in overall command.
Your Majesty.
You heard me, Drake.
The expedition was a success. By destroying 27 Spanish ships, we set the Armada back by at least a year. I singed the King of Spain's beard.
Oh, which has grown again.
Why are you showing me such disrespect, Your Majesty?
Because of the disrespect you sometimes show your country.
You cannot mean that.
Your treatment of William Burroughs was unacceptable. He is a commissioned officer in the Royal Navy, and to disrespect him is to disrespect me.
The man was a traitor.
How did you conclude that?
Because he criticised me at Cadiz about the exposed position of the fleet, lying in the narrow gut between shoals, which he suggested made us open to attack by galleys and fireships. His complaint that no council had been held and that to plunge headlong into a strange harbour full of unknown perils without inquiry as to channels or forts, without advice taken or formal orders issued, invited disaster. Then he started to boast that he was King England's Vice Admiral. And won a pitched battle in the Baltic before I'd commanded anything larger than the Judith. I couldn't take it anymore. He was even critical about the distribution of wine and biscuits from the captured store.
Charges of which he has been cleared.
By men of his own class.
Be careful what you say, Drake.
Let's move on.
So who will be in overall command?
Lord Howard of Effingham, you will be second in command. Be true to yourself, Drake, and we will still see eye to eye.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Oh, if only my country knew how much I love Drake's bravado. Indeed, if I were a man not constricted and constrained within the binds of monarchy, I'd strive to live life just like he does.
His life is not as free as you think, Ma'am.
Any life is freer than mine. I am mother to a nation, a virgin queen, who has sacrificed personal love for the good of England and its people.
And yet they'd be delighted if they felt you had found true love.
Do you think so?
I know so.
Well, I have, and I do love you, Reuben. But feelings of affection are a total complication, so perhaps I choose to be a prisoner of virginity rather than one of love's great adventures.
Most of us do live in a prison, whether it be virginity, fear, ignorance, arrogance, vanity, complacency.
I can't imagine you in a prison, Robin.
I have been your prisoner all my life.
so then you know your place, Robin.
Meanwhile, back at the Astorial Palace, enter Sidonia and Donna Anna. How was the king when you met him?
The same as always, although he has a determination I've not witnessed before.
He has become obsessed with his mission to build the Armada and conquer England. He is convinced it is the will of God.
What do you think it is?
It's a venture of faith over reality. Philip has not and will not listen to anyone who distracts from his mission. But the cost of that is enormous. Victuals are lost or stolen on a daily basis, men desert and are not being replaced, and Drake's attack on our supplies at Cadiz and the destruction of staves to make barrels has weakened our ability to hold provisions.
The king thinks there is only one man who is capable of saving Enterprise England, and that man is you, Alonso.
But I have no desire to be commander of this armada. I do not have a sufficient naval background for such a task.
But because you come from such a great noble line, he believes it is your duty as an aristocrat to support him. As he said on many occasions, there are so few noble families of Spain. The few noble families of Spain are the backbone of an empire which has tamed the known and unknown world in culture and courage.
There is still a strong chance it will fail. What if we are not interpreting the will of God in the manner he intends?
He argues that Pope Pius V has issued a bill of excommunication against Elizabeth. God's message is clear. She is the cause of so much injury to the Catholic faith and the loss of so many million souls. There is little doubt whatsoever that whoever sends her out of this world with the pious intention of doing God's service not only does not commit sin, but gains merit.
But what if England is stronger than we think?
That is an answer for a future as yet unknown. In the meantime, and until a time when fate chooses your next path, we must live as best we can. You know, I went for a walk this morning down a long avenue of trees. I had time to think of where we stand in the world. It was windy and the leaves were blustering, furious. And as I strode along, the clouds in the sky were racing, bullying each other. I wrapped a scarf firmly around my neck and thrust my hands further into my cloak. I thought about the beauty around me and wondered of all the nature, the drama that nature conjures up, and realised that war and turbulence are as much of this world as peace and tranquility. Nature is constantly changing, hourly, daily, monthly, yearly, and forever. There is peace, and then there is turbulence. There is turbulence, and then there is peace. The only constant in chaos is God, who sends these storms to find out if we have the faith to face adversity with the fortitude of an oak, or little more than brushwood torn from a heath.
I love you, Donna Anna. You make me feel the Lord of everything, strong in myself and good with life. How truly blessed I am. I've always thought that such love was merely the fodder of dreams, and yet it is real. The moon has witnessed and sealed the union. I thank God for this wonderful love of ours, and will praise his glory through my praise for you, a woman supreme, strong, and beautiful.
And trust me when I say that should the time come when you are chosen, whatever your responses, I will back you and support you.
For that, I am eternally grateful. Meanwhile, back at the laundry room at Richmond Palace, Deborah and Bess enter.
I can't thank you enough for this linen, Deborah.
You are a talented seamstress, Bess. Thank you. So, has it had an effect yet?
I watched the Queen use her femininity to get what she wants and intend to copy her in every detail. She is always flirting, and out of all the dangers in the world, there's nothing so dangerous as Elizabeth flirting. With plaintive sighs, almost inaudible, she gives the appearance of being utterly helpless without a strong man to put his arm around her and protect her. Her eyes dart to the ground in fake shyness, or stare completely absorbed into the eyes of the poor luckless man who is to be seduced. Or she'll ask him to pick her lace up off the floor, or ask his advice on the subject that she knows better than her own hand. Sometimes she bats her eyelids so hard it looks like she'll blow out the candles.
God help Walter then. So what news have you for me today?
You heard Her Majesty preferred Lord Howard of Effingham to Drake as the overall commander of an navy.
Why do you think that is?
Drake's too common for the aristocracy.
But he's a national hero.
Sea, but not on land.
Or what of Earl of Leicester?
Elizabeth still loves him despite herself.
She seems to be besotted with his stepson Essex.
He just makes her feel young again, that's all. Your Majesty?
So, it's true.
What's true?
How dare you take me for a fool, Bess? Who do you think you are parading around in that dress like some fancy whore? England is going to war, and all you think about are your loins. If the Queen of England cannot afford new clothes because every penny I have is spent on war, then I'll be damned if you will parade around looking like some fairy tale princess.
I meant no harm.
Remove it immediately.
Ma'am?
Now, get it off. You go. Help her.
Your Majesty.
Stop snivelling, girl. You're lucky I'm not sending you to the Tower on a charge of treason. Walsingham! Walsingham! When she's out of that monstrosity, bring it to me, and so I can burn it. This is your last warning, Bess. Don't you ever dare to cross me again.
Cover yourself up, girl, and go change. Now you need no word with you.
Sir?
I got wind of your conversation with Bess and followed you to the Mariners. Your friend Alice trades in contraband.
What are you going to do?
Well, that rather depends on you.
How?
You were talking to a Spanish spy, I know. Your brother-in-law, Sebastian. Oh, don't play dumb. I know everyone and everything. I've had my eye on him for months.
So what news have you for me today? No?
Well,
Sorry.
I want to play him.
Why can't you have him arrested?
I want to play him. And now I can. You're obviously supplying him with information, which is a hanging offence. The antics of your friend Alice is also a hanging offence. However, I am prepared to show some leniency. If you start delivering Sebastian news and gossip that comes directly from me.
You have me cornered.
I'd like to do so.
When do you want me to start?
Tonight.
Meanwhile, back at Richmond Palace, Elizabeth is in bed, having another dream, this time about Mary, Queen of Scots, who is accompanied by a young man.
Is that you, Mary?
May I take you away and lie with you in the sand, running my fingers through your hair, yearning your trust with my hand?
No, you may not, you inappropriate man.
May I hope you could still love me, away from the scenes where I act, restless and senseless, without any soul, yet wanting your presence intact.
You are persistent.
Queen of the seas, princess of the waves, unrivaled in white, unfettered. If I could see you with tears in your eyes, the heart in mine would be bettered.
Oh, the nonsense of wordsmith.
Even while trying to get you to feel. Could you break me in two? Would you want to? Or like the rain, are you gentle and soft, not only in rage, but in dew?
Stop it! The pair of you demons, stop it!
Oh, ignore her.
Do not!
Oh, the wish that I have is you'll forget. Reality conjures up dreams. As a man myself, I live close to both, ready to live as best it seems. You are the woman I choose to entrust. Heaven, the stars, and the earth. Odd though it seems, you will live in my dreams as an innocent picture of mirth.
Get out! Get out!
Mary, Queen of Scots and Queen of England.
Oh, thank you, eternal youth. A flatterer you are, but a truth there too.
You are a legend, and will die a legend.
Oh, they'll sing me when I'm dead and gone, in drawing rooms and bowers, of posy sweet and twig-sky thought, and magic pick-me flowers, so from their cosy fireside chairs, secure and happily placed, my ventures and my lonely times to them will beauty grace. For beauty is the only thing that comforts me alone, and I back it to them all I'll give, as gratitude sends love.
Who are you, old woman?
I am your queen.
Mary is my queen, forever young, forever beautiful, and forever a queen.
Ah, leave her. She's paying for her sins, and will forever be a cold, decrepit, frail, and without beauty.
Leave me, you fiends!
Mary and the man exit, and Elizabeth wakes up. Blanche enters the room.
Are you well, Your Majesty?
Oh, I didn't sleep again. Nightmares.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shall I send your ladies away today so you can have some peace?
No, I need to keep up appearances, and the court without my women is like a body without a nervous system.
Then I should try to control their twittering for you.
Oh, it would make no difference.
Your Majesty?
Oh, male courtiers are just as interested in tittle-tattle. Gossip is not the preserve of women. Trust me, I know. Oh, lines, lines, more lines. Where do they come from?
The smile lines, my lady.
Smile lines. When do I ever smile? Do you have smile lines too?
We are both getting old, Your Majesty.
But I cannot afford to grow old, Blanche. You of all people should know that. My looks and my youth are all I've had to fight the princes of Europe for the past 30 years. You will make me up to retain my youth.
I will do my best.
Oh, I know I'm being ridiculous, Blanche. I'm sorry. Oh, once this asset held its value well, but the mirror doesn't lie. What was once a golden glory has melted into brass. Oh, it's why I was so cruel to Bess. She's so pretty and young, while I no longer am.
Bess is a sweet girl, so try to be civil to her. You were thrown into the tower for being a beautiful girl once yourself. caught Lord Seymour's eye. Besides, men still do exactly what you want them to do, Your Majesty.
Because I am queen.
And a great queen at that.
Oh, who would happily give it away for the right man?
And what kind of man would you want?
An honest man with friendly eyes, good legs, and sweet breath.
Oh, so you can kiss him without choking.
Are you ready to dress, Your Majesty?
Oh, surely. Who do I have to receive first?
Sir Francis Drake and Lord Walsingham.
Oh, joy upon joy.
Shall I say you are ill and send them on their way?
Oh, if only you could, Bess. Unfortunately, I do not live in a corner. I cannot hide. 1,000 eyes see all I do. I need to put a smile on and have some fun with these fawns. How are your lessons going, Bess?
Her Majesty is interested in your progress, and so you need to tell her.
I keep on forgetting. So frightened about the Armada, I just can't think straight.
More the need for you to discipline your mind, then.
Just relax, child. It'll come to you.
The female members of the Privy Chamber are divided into the following. 4 specifically serve in the bedchamber, 3 under the category of chambers. There are 7 women who serve in the Privy Chamber without wage, 6 who serve as maids of the Privy Chamber, 6 maids of honour who are looked after by 1 woman, mother of maids, and 11 women who serve as extraordinary members in the Privy Chamber who only need to be in attendance when the Queen calls.
Meanwhile, back at the Mariners Inn, shanties are being sung.
Farewell and adieu to you Spanish ladies, farewell and adieu to you ladies of Spain, for we receive orders to sail for old England, and we hope in a short time to see you again. We'll rant and we'll roar, like true British sailors, we'll rant and we'll roar, all the salt seas, until we strike soundings in the channel of old England, from Lucan to Scilly is 35 leagues. We hove our ship to, with the wind from southwest, boys, we hove our ship to, each sounding to take, 'twas 45 fathoms with a white sandy bottom, so we squared our main yard and the channel did make. We'll rant and we'll roar, like true British sailors, we'll rant and we'll roar, all the salt seas, until we strike soundings in the channel of England, from Lucan to Scilly is 35 leagues.
Enter Drake and Jonas.
Are we ready to return to Plymouth, Francis?
I have one more meeting with the Queen and then we'll be gone.
Well, we're struggling to recruit.
Because the men know to risk their lives for little reward.
Will the Queen not budge?
She claims to have no money, so what can I do?
Well, we've always done, I suppose.
There may not be time for plunder, Jonas. We must rely on Her Majesty's goodwill.
Well, Elizabeth, I trust. It's our ministers I don't.
Enter
Drake.
Alice.
Jonas, evening to you both.
Alice, 2 of the usual, please.
Of course. How's the recruiting been going, Captain?
Not as well as I'd like.
Well, some say you're just hell-bent on revenge for what the Spanish did to you all those years ago in San Juan.
Well, then they'd be right.
Why?
Because the Spanish behaved with a treachery that would be hard to surpass anyway. There we were, laying in harbour, cleansing our ships, when up come Don Martin Enriquez in a great galleon with 12 other ships. Our Admiral Hawkins procured a treaty that we should continue unmolested. But as if odds of 13 to 5 weren't enough, Don Martin fetched soldiers under cover of the night into the ship's holds. The next day, as I and my men were on shore, working with the Spaniards as friends and brothers, and Hawkins was feasting with their officers, there was a sudden trumpet, and the devils were up in arms pouring into our ships. By the Lord, give me the chance to catch a Spaniard, hanging by his heels till the venom of his soul runs from his nose. And I will be a happy man, believe me.
Drake and Jonas sit down, enter Cornelius, who approaches Alice.
All's well, I trust?
Wanted to see me, Cornelius?
Look, I have a proposition, Alice.
Go on.
I want to be a part of your private enterprise.
That's between me and my husband, thank you.
What if I could grow your business? You've always said I have a silver tongue. Let me use it to help you expand.
We're big enough as it is, Cornelius. The answer's no.
Well, is there anyone you know who's looking for a worker who wants to make money? Real money. Deborah's left me because my prospects are so poor. I need to win her back by creating some wealth quickly.
Drake is looking for men.
I tried to avoid what before.
You should consider it. He's never failed any of his crew yet. Why, the man sailed across the world in the top of the Golden Hind. I think you'll aim with him.
But I'm not so sure. Drake's a madman. You're just as likely to end up dead on the end of a Spanish sword as make a bobble too.
Well, what's this infatuation with Deborah anyway? She's not interested in you anymore, and you need to learn to take a hint.
Deborah!
Oh, go away, Cornelius.
What do you mean, go away?
What I said, go away.
You're meeting with Sebastian again, I suppose?
It's none of your business.
Well, I can make it my business if I choose.
Is he bothering you, Deborah?
Go away, Cornelius, please.
Only if you can look me in the eye and tell me you don't love me anymore.
Is that what it'll take to get rid of you?
Yes.
I don't love you anymore, Cornelius. Please go.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe in words you don't want to hear. I sometimes think you just use words and ideas to deliberately disguise reality.
True, words are all I
You
have.
don't trust the logic of language. Its only purpose is for you as a means of outwitting other people.
I love you,
Oh.
Deborah.
That's enough, Cornelius. That's enough.
What's going on, Alice?
It's time to give her up, Cornelius.
I feel betrayed. She was my world.
Take my advice. Get away to Plymouth and join Drake.
Plymouth? That godforsaken hellhole.
Captain Drake?
You quiet, Alice.
Captain Drake?
Meanwhile, back at Richmond Palace, enter Drake, Burley, Leicester, and Howard.
Speaking as one who moves in their circles, I would advise to err on the side of caution when it comes to discussing finance.
But if we won't look after the men, they will not join us.
Oh, it's a fine balancing act to govern with the sense and sensibility.
Thankfully at sea we are not governed by the vagaries of Her Majesty's court.
A court you could do well to respect, Francis.
I don't need your advice, thank you.
Burley surely means no offence.
I understand his slight, Lord Howard.
What slight?
I'm the son of a Devon preacher, low stock. And in this great nation of ours, that is where I should have stayed. Save I chose not to. I fought my way to rub shoulders with yours, lords and gentlemen, that most of my class admire, through books, plays, legends, ballads. I've never been accepted by you. You old fat, playing at your snobbery, living in a world where you congratulate yourselves on the back for being marvellous fellows, absolutely splendid chaps, and ignore the rest of the world as if it didn't exist. That's why I annoy you. I blasted my way into your safe world with the fury of a hot cannonball. And I directly challenge you because if I, of no birth, can find fame and lift it high onto my shoulders, so could you. I'm a spirit that has pushed itself, found its strengths, and then excelled upon them. Who has extended the depths of his soul in an effort to live as he wishes rather than he is forced.
What absolute tosh, Drake.
Look, all of us have the highest regard for you, Francis.
I can't believe you're that unhappy.
I'm not so much unhappy as saddened. How much I look forward to in England where men and women will respect each other, whatever their background. Do you know, the court of Elizabeth cannot barely bring to their lips my name as a great admiral? Who led his tiny ships with strong Devon arts across the seas? No, they call me a pirate, the corsair, and giggle as they lord around the court of Drake's pirate grin, his road-flashing eyes, his boastful manliness, his gauche vanity.
Oh, Francis, how you go on sometimes.
Bertie, it's not the same between us as before. Many months ago, when we were in court, you would laugh with me. Yet now it seems your only pleasure is to laugh at me. What have I done to offend you? Tell me, and it shall quickly be mended by me.
Nothing. What an imagination you have.
Enough of this, Francis. We stand united. Surely that is something that is way more important.
Enter Elizabeth.
So it appears we are at war, gentlemen. And as much as I regret our current position, I do not regret my actions over the decades. Yes, there could have been more security for my reign and my realm if I'd married and had a child to continue the line of my father. But it did not. But it didn't turn out so. Not because of my desires, but because of my politics. Don't look at me like that, and do not judge me. Do you imagine I did not want to have a child? Do you imagine I did not wish to hold a babe in mine arms? Am I so unnatural to you by virtue of my exalted position?
One thinks like that, your majesty.
We must still pursue every avenue for peace.
It's too late for that.
It's never too late.
England is greatest when she stands alone, with every single odd stacked against her.
England, the Spanish, will have our heads if we fall.
We will not fail whilst you lead us.
You have always been a strong monarch.
Because I feel close to my father, which probably explains my fanatical hatred for the Catholic hypocrisy. God, how I hated my sister, and how I hated her the more when she tried to return my livid hatred with sweet love.
She shouldn't have loved Spain so much. Her heart should have stayed in England, where it belonged. All of us need to put our country first. And how well I know that lesson.
I know you've suffered.
Alas, that I should still be alive when so many brave men no longer draw breath. My own two brothers, John and Joseph Drake, are at rest with him. But I will not grieve, for the most glorious end that can await any man is to die for his country, and a man's courage is in the manner of his death.
So, are we ready for the Spaniards who think we fear death, that they commission through their Inquisition?
As soon as the Armada is sighted, this land will be aset with beacons, so that the Spaniard trying to speak of our England will be caught like a thief, who's tiptoeing up the stairs of a house when all the lights are turned off and he seals embarrassed, trying to explain himself before he receives his righteous just hammering.
We are now returning to the Escorial Palace in Spain. Enter Mura and Sidonia.
Please do not burden the king. He is excited and only wants good news. He has chosen you to command the Armada, and you cannot refuse.
But I get seasick. I've no experience whatsoever of naval warfare, and I'm burdened by such large family debt I cannot financially support the venture.
The king wants you because he believes God has willed it, and you can't fight the will of God. And do not be fools, Sidonia. By the king's smile, because it's a short distance to his dagger. And I found out.
Alonso, my dear friend, are you well?
As you see me, Your Majesty,
And how is that wonderful wife of yours?
in good spirits.
And is she delighted with your appointment?
She supports me as always.
It was your bravery at Cadiz in the face of the assaulters, the pirate Drake, that convinced me God wanted you in command. Had it not been for mustering 300 cavalry and 3,000 foot, who knows what damage Drake would have wreaked?
The losses were not great, but the daring of the attempt was very great indeed.
The man is the devil himself and works for a devil queen. I will destroy them both.
I know.
England is enslaved by evil. We must set her free.
Yet we are struggling for manpower. Drake's attacks knocked the confidence of our men who've been deserting on a daily basis.
Then I'll offer a free pardon to bandits and outlaws if they enter the service.
And the Pope has agreed to fund the enterprise if he succeeds.
Which, if God desires, it will be so.
The cruise has left the Armada far from ready. The ships are half built and victualling supplies are low. Drake destroyed so many staves needed for making barrels that unless we replenish them, our food and drink will be poisoned by the barrels not being airtight.
Now fix it. We'll give you all the help we can. Don't burden the king with inconsequentials.
And is the plan to remain the same?
You will sail up the English Channel to support Parma. Once you are united, you will ferry his troops onto barges to Margate, protected from the English Navy by you.
Have you considered the prospect of Parma attacking through Kent while the soldiers of the Armada seize the Isle of Wight?
I have but dismissed it. I want our forces united, not divided.
What news have you on Elizabeth?
England is full of agents stirring up in preparation for the overthrow. Their embers burn with hate and loathing and are scattered around awaiting the breeze. The breeze of wind, the wind of tempest, storm, Elizabeth on a wooden throne. And will soon find herself burnt on the pyre.
But she does have Drake.
And the Queen has fools for ministers who do not realise this.
Far-fetched.
Who we hear is out of favour and in disgrace. He has angered the Queen by stealing treasure that was due to her and as a result has been banished from her court.
If this is true, we have the advantage.
We have spies who have confirmed it.
We go back to the Minerva Inn in Plymouth. Cornelius, Percy and Tremaine.
Can I join you, gentlemen?
If you want.
Well, it's just that I'm rather new to Plymouth.
Right.
I'm here to go and fight the Armada with Drake. Do you work with Drake?
Sometimes.
So we'll be shipmates.
Not this time we won't be.
Oh, why's that?
Because he works for the Queen.
Surely that's an honour, isn't it?
We don't sail for honour.
What do you sail for?
Oh, the opportunity for private trading and humble.
Aye.
I see.
A service to the Crown carries a financial penalty for seamen and their dependents. Well, I got better things to be doing.
Naval wages are poor and routine delayed.
Aye. Our last trip, the Crown finished us off. The bread was musty and the biscuits were mouldy.
The beer was sharp and sour like vinegar, while the water was corrupt and stinking.
The beef and pork had some loathsome and filthy. We had to hold our noses as to drink it.
Look at Drake and Jonas.
We've only a few more stores to load.
Good. The Armada could be here at any moment.
The men are still unhappy about their pay.
I've heard what they're saying and they will be paid.
Just not as much as usual.
But what is money when we are honoured to fight for the Queen?
Many don't see it like that, which is why they're leaving in droves.
Well, there are still some sturdy fellows who'll fight with me.
Drake departs. Cornelius looks over at the commotion.
Why are those men so angry?
Because even though they're only in their mid-20s, all they've ever known is the sea, and the brutality of the life that brings.
Oh, I suppose it's the same with the sailors from home.
And where's home?
London.
My, a fancy London boy in Plymouth. What did we do to deserve the likes of you?
Well, I'm here to fight with Drake.
How very brave.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that.
You'll have to be when you sail with us.
And may I ask who you are?
Oh, my name's Ruby.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Ruby.
Oh, how lordly our London boy sounds, Jonas.
I've been called lordly before. I'm just a common troubadour.
And yet you dress mighty fancy and look well fed.
So I'll leave the lad alone, Ruby.
Why should I? All these London types do when they come to sail from here on some exotic adventure is sneer and belittle us.
I'm not doing either.
He's not.
Fair point. It's just
Just what?
I just so hate the dreadful poverty of the people here who don't have access to the riches you take for granted in London. That I lash out. It upsets me watching the bedraggled children running around begging for money, begging for anything. I looks in the eyes of the fisherwomen and see their struggle. And when I can, I looks in the eyes of the fishermen as well and try to connect with their despair.
At that moment, Drake returns and demands attention.
Oh, that's another 10 slooped off. Damn mutineers.
We need more men, Drake.
Let me speak to them. Listen up, men. Listen up. Who is ready to fight for the Queen? Men! Men! Silence for a moment, please. I stand before you and reiterate that it is our duty as God-fearing people to stand up and fight for freedom by defeating the Armada. You come from a great town, a brave town, and one I'd call my home. And to my mind, the world is all the better for you venturesome and courageous people. You men are true British bulldogs who will always growl over their bones. To hear you, you'd say that England's sailors were all hens. Our soldiers, fledglings. Our cause ever wrong. You'd say dry rot had weakened their sinews. You'd say if they had the keys to the kingdom, they'd hand them over to the enemy. But let the enemy really show up. And you men will fight, whatever your trade, and each will give good account of himself. Surely there are enough of you, stout hearts, to seek out the glory of defending England.
Oh, please.
Jonas, take these brave souls to their ships. Captain, Jonas tells me that you men aren't prepared to fight for your queen and country no more.
Not this time, Drake. Last time we set sail for Her Majesty, there was too many inexperienced commanders. The victuals were so bad and unwholesome. And when we complained, we had no redress. Our beef was cut too small. And there was a lack of beer and a long wait for our wages.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And believe me when I say I'm trying to change things. Because Her Majesty's government insists on waging her wars on a shoestring budget, employing ad hoc methods of fighting. And it'll always be left to me to find the ways and means of supplementing your income.
Yeah, no, not this time, Drake.
Then I will find some men with courage. Men who aren't cowards. Men who believes in me.
Insults are beneath you, Captain Drake.
You know I always rewards my men.
No, this time.
Tremaine, Percy, please think again. You're amongst the best sailors I have. Come with me. Things will be different, I promise.
Is that your promise or the Queen's?
Mine.
Oh, go elsewhere with your fairy tales, Drake.
Don't run away, Tremaine. Not from me, not from anyone.
Well, you think I'm scared of you?
Of what I have to say, then yes.
You don't frighten me, you don't know me.
And if you don't talk to me, how will I? But what I can tell about you, Tremaine, just by looking at you, and just by smelling you, is that you are drunk and you are angry.
You spent a day in my world, so will you be.
Well, I was brought up in your world, so don't give me that.
But what's this crusade against the Spanish all about?
Because I know how worse our lives will be under the yoke of them Spaniards. Look, your lives today would seem like paradise in comparison. You don't care for the crown.
Well, as much as it cares for me.
Like the crown, we need money to survive. So if the Great Turk would give me a penny, a day more than the Queen, I would serve him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited, I suppose.
That'll change.
Well, I already have my first job.
Which is?
Well, I'm to help guard the stores tonight.
Later that night, on the Barbican quayside, Cornelius is on guard. Ruby is with him. Percy and Tremaine are robbing the stores.
I'm afraid of yesterday, where you and I were young, and fear tomorrow just as much, where you and I have sung.
Thank you for staying with me.
Oh, you are surprisingly good company.
Well, I realise I'm saying this in an alcoholic stutterer of sorts, a state which I naturally demise, but to which I occasionally adhere to, but I must admit I'm frightened.
Then why are you really here, Cornelius?
Well, I want money, but there's a girl.
Oh, there's always a girl.
Except she's told me to leave her. Forget her. I don't want anyone else other than Deborah. I know I fall in love too fast, but from the moment I saw her, I felt a spark, and my heart just gave way to the madness of love.
Well, where did you meet her?
At the Mariners' Arms in Deptford. She comes from the other side of the Thames, you see, and she is the loveliest creature I've ever seen.
And do you love her?
Like nothing else, but now there's a part of me that hates her. She told me I'd never make anything of myself, that I was just a dreamer.
Well, let's hope you live to see her again.
What happened to the girl, they say, you bought from over the waters? Where are the days you sat and played with fathers, sons and daughters? Oh, she's gone, I say, drowned in disaffection, lost upon the seas that count our lives. And I hate her for her deception with cruel and ugly and lies. Don't ask me anymore why my sweet should leave you in the sands as she sailed by. For some maybe at least will be discreet, but she has all but prune her wings.
Oh, the eternal story of love, eh, Cornelius?
Drake and Jonas arrive. Ruby makes her escape.
Oh, Captain Drake!
What are you doing, Cornelius?
No, I was just talking to Ruby.
Who?
She's gone.
Why are the rest of the guards asleep?
Oh, I said it would be all right.
So why are there two men stood there looking guilty?
Where?
Jonas has rounded up Tremaine and Percy.
What have we here, Jonas?
Oh, it seemed to be thieves, Sir Francis.
Thieves? We should hang, no doubt.
Oh, Captain Drake, you've got it all wrong. We were on our way home, and we saw 5 retrobates robbing these stores. We fought and chased them away.
So there is some heroism in you.
Always believe you right or wrong.
Then as your reward, you can sail with me. Jonas has got these men on board.
Oh, not so fast, Drake.
Do you want to debate this, or shall I just call you thieves and hang you now?
We've done no wrong. You've got no proof.
Cornelius, were these men stealing?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
Because you were distracted by a woman. Jonas, arrest this man
Go get him.
for dereliction of duty and treason. We'll hang him from the yard on first thing.
Drake, I beg you.
Oh. There's no such need for such hardness.
Isn't there? Men have been deserting, our stores have been pilfered, and this whole operation put into jeopardy by the likes of you. I need to make an example of it.
We only speak our minds, Captain.
You're nothing better than low-life pirates and thieves.
We could say the same for you.
Take that back, Tremaine. Easy.
I'll run you through. Easy, Jonas.
What do you want me to do?
We're short of men, so I'll forget about these transgressions if you come with me.
He's bluffing, Tremaine.
Take Cornelius over.
No, Drake, Percy, you've got to help me. I don't want to die.
Well, you will have to die sometime, lad.
Enough, all of you, enough.
What's going on?
Well, if anyone's to blame for this, it's me. I've not been paid for the goods I've supplied, and asked Tremaine and Percy to help me get them back.
So you should have been paid. I've been paying the quartermaster.
Then you need to check with them. They are the thieves, Francis.
Is this true, Tremaine?
We were helping Ruby out.
I haven't time to deal with this now. But I will on my return, trust me. In the meantime,
You men will come with me, or Cornelius will hang.
Oh, have some mercy, Drake.
These are my terms.
I'm sorry, Tremaine, Percy. I should never have put you in harm's way.
Seems like we're sailing with you after all, Drake.
The thing is, Jones, I sympathise with Ruby. It's not particularly the Crown's lack of money or reluctance to spend it. It's simply the lack of facilities and organisation to provide large quantities of food and drink fit to be kept for months on board a ship. Until the Navy stops improvising on ad hoc basis, there will always be corruption and disruption.
Meanwhile, in Lisbon, as the Armada prepares to set sail, Isabella and Don Alva are on the quayside.
How is Alonso?
He's terrified of failing. He feels Mora has manipulated your father into making him commander. Alonso sent him letters explaining that he was not up to the job, but they were intercepted by Mora and never reached the king.
Why?
So if the enterprise fails, the blame will be put on my husband, not him.
I hear things were bad when you took over from Santa Cruz.
The inadequacy of the preparations was too obvious. The casks of salt meat were putrefying, the water in the tanks had not been renewed, and had stood for weeks growing foul and poisonous under the hot Lisbon sun. Spare ropes, spars and anchors were all deficient, and the ships were short of powder and cannonballs. The contractors had cheated as audaciously as if they had been mere heretics. The soldiers and mariners so little liked the look of things that they were deserted in hundreds, while the muster masters drew pay for all the full numbers and kept it. Instead of sailing in March as he'd been ordered, Alonso was obliged to send to Madrid a long list of indispensable necessities, without which they could not sail at all. And yet we are still plagued. The water has been on board for 4 months. The casks are leaking, and what's left of it is unfit to drink. The provisions of salt meat, cheese, and biscuits are all half putrid.
I have passed your concerns to the king repeatedly, but his only ever response is to inform me that all I need to do is put more trust in God.
That's why my beloved husband will be trying to evoke the Holy Spirit amongst his sailors even as we speak.
The king says to trust in God. Well, if that's the case, we need to do all we can to court God's pleasure and protection. Make sure the men from the highest to the lowest understand that the object of our expedition is to recover a country to the church, now oppressed by the enemies of the true faith. I therefore beseech you to remember your calling, so that God may be with us in what we do. I charge you, one and all, to abstain from profane oaths, dishonouring to the names of our Lord, our Lady, and the saints. All personal quarries are to be suspended while the expedition lasts, and for a month after it is completed. Neglect of this will be held as treason. Each morning at sunrise, the ship's boys, according to custom, shall sing Good Morrow at the foot of the mainmast, and at sunset, Ave Maria. Since bad weather may interrupt the communications, the watchword is laid down for each day in the week. Sunday, Jesus. The days succeeding, the Holy Ghost, the Holy Trinity, Santiago, the angels, all saints, and Our Lady. At sea, every evening, each ship shall pass with a salute under the lee of the Commander-in-Chief, and shall follow at night the light which he will carry in his stern.
What do you believe the chances of success?
Good, God willing. The fleet consists of 130 ships, 7 of them over 1,000 tons and 67 are over 500. There has never been such a fleet, and if Alonso and his officers act with decisive decisions, they will quickly crush the English.
It certainly is a sight to behold.
Alonso has divided the Armada into 6 squadrons, each with its vice admiral and captaina or flagship. His ship, the San Martin, is a squadron of Portugal. It's the finest vessel in the service in the world. The other 5 of Biscay, Castile, Andalusia, Gypsicosa, and the Levant are all led by distinguished officers.
Oh, nothing like the Armada has ever been to sea, so I cannot fathom how we can be defeated.
Then let us retire to church and vow to pray for victory daily.
Back in Plymouth on the Hoe, enter Drake and Howard, playing bowls.
I I cannot go about my business, for I have an infinite number of soldiers hanging on my shoulders for money. They demand we pay more before we sail.
Wages are a major grievance.
It so frustrates me, Jake. For we have here the best company of captains, soldiers and mariners ever seen in England. It's a disgrace that they should lack meat, when they are willing to risk their lives for Her Majesty.
Then we must pay for victuals and wages ourselves.
I think it should be marvelled at how we keep our men from running away from the worst of the men of the fleet, and how bad things can be, but I thank God as we are not troubled with any minutes, because I believe men kindly-handed will bear hardship and run through fire and water.
We will need some spoils.
Yeah, maybe you are right, Francis.
We need motivated men.
Well, do you think it's necessary? Or do you think we'll turn a blind eye to it?
England will thank you, sir.
In the meantime, we will wait with bated breath for the Spaniards.
This is the worst part. You're waiting. But we must wait.
Enter Jonas running.
Gentlemen, they're coming. Just seen off the lizard last night.
Who, sir? Who?
The Armada. The Spanish Armada.
Then it is time. Is your plan decided?
Well, yes, we must divide the fleet into 3 squadrons. Under yourself, Hawkins, and Martin Frobisher, I will stay aboard the Ark Royale Frobisher, can command the largest ship in the fleet, the Triumph, while you, with Captain Revenge Hawkins, will stay on Victory. We will attack at both ends of the crescent. The Ark Royale will attack the right wing, and the Revenge and the Triumph attack. Commander of the Brighton squadron to the left. Are the men ready to defend England, Francis?
Englishmen do not receive the blows of fate with humility. It is their constant effort to wrest the bludgeon from our hands, and you will not find us wanting, Lord Howard.
We must go and plan. Leave this game and come with me.
I'll finish the game first, and win it too. There's plenty of time to finish it, and beat the Spaniards as well.
Some of the men are talking of treason. Even some of the captains are.
And no wonder. We're in a tricky spot. With the wind's against us and we're locked in. If the Armada surprises us now, it will be like a bear baited by dogs.
Lord Howard seems to be at his wit's end.
So am I, Jonas, but we mustn't show it.
What do you counsel?
Whistle for a wind, Jonas.
Enter Tremaine.
The men are harassing me with questions.
The men speak as they think.
And what of our fleet?
Make ready.
Captain.
Wait, Jonas. Were they sailing fast or slow?
Slow.
Send runners. Let the beacons blaze tonight. Start a girdle of fire around England. Jonas, at sundown, the wind will turn. Then I'll pilot the fleet out of harbour. Get up. Go to work. The ships must be manned.
And in the meantime?
Make sure the beacons are lit.
Beacons are lit. 2 figures. Who goes there? A friend. The word. England is watching. Pass, friend. Meanwhile, at sea on the San Martin, Recalde, Sidonia, and Levi are discussing their plans.
I beg you, Sidonia, to modify your instructions and allow us to secure Plymouth or Dartmoor on our advance. Because although we might gain a victory, it's unlikely to be so complete as to end the struggle. And we might require a harbour to help with the fleet.
The English coast. Hoist the sacred standard.
Our latest reports indicate the English fleet is trapped in the Plymouth harbour. If we send our fastest ships so they can reach the entrance of Plymouth, south. They can sail in when the tide is turned and damage the English galleons. We have the advantage of heavier, short range, just the armour for a fight in narrow waters. If there is hand to hand, we have ships that ride higher in the water and an abundance of trained soldiers, 10 times that of the English.
We could use fire ships on a crowded English fleet struggling out of port against the wind.
We must attack Plymouth at once.
The wind is in the direction for an incoming fleet.
My orders from the king are to continue up the channel until we link up with Parma. To attack Plymouth would be a blatant deviation from this royal command.
But if the king were here with his golden opportunity, he would think otherwise. The narrow approach channels of the Sound are ideal for those with close action we prefer.
I say no, because my orders say no. Philip is our sovereign, and we will honour him so. We keep to our plan.
The chilly hand of the crown bureaucrat reaches out from his study even here.
Our provisions are deteriorating, so we must advance as quickly as possible to reach Parma.
But we can replenish in Plymouth.
But only if we win. Meanwhile, on the Revenge, Cornelius, Tremaine, and Percy are below deck.
Is this really the time for shanties?
Oh, good for keeping things, your mind off things.
I can't stop feeling seasick.
You'll soon get used to it.
At least you know where you are on land. Why you like the sea when all you seem to ever do is curse it, I don't really know.
Oh, because it's a part of me that makes me feel close to God, even though I don't believe in him.
Well, there may be some truth in that.
The truth? Now there's a faith.
What's wrong with the truth, is there?
Truth's a waste of time, if you ask me.
To those who seek the truth, you will be mocked. To those who find it, you will be cut off. And to those who tell it, you will be killed.
So everyone can live a lie in peace.
Amen.
Thank you for taking me under your wing, Tremaine.
Oh, don't thank me, thank Ruby. She feels guilty for easing you back in Plymouth and demanding we looked after you. Besides,
Yes?
how was that letter you're writing to me? From Ruby. Coming along. I wanted to know how I should feel should I die.
The tear I feel when I see a man die, I will put in my hand as it touches the back of your neck.
Oh, yeah.
The tingle I have when I see a new land climbing slowly out of the distant sea mists, I will put in my other hand, which caresses you, and the nervous excitement and passion which lifts my thumping heart into my mouth that I get on returning to Plymouth after a trip I'll put into my kiss.
You have a way with words, my friend.
Well, words are my currency to me. They're all I have.
And you use them better than most.
Which is why people like you pay people like me to put the words and feelings that you have but cannot express.
Oh, I've always known how powerful words are.
Words are friends we can use to divide reality into pieces and objects and things we can grab hold of with our
Not
minds.
all words are our friends.
Such as?
Like the words I use to describe the scar in my head.
I don't understand.
Oh, we can see limbs brutally torn away from their bodies. Eyes explode from sockets, flesh scorched and burned. We can hear the agony screaming from the mouth of the dying. We can smell the stench of rotting flesh as it devours what was once a human being. But who sees or hears the scars in your head? How do you describe seeing those you trained with over years, locked in taverns with, covered for the bluster of battle, spent hours chewing the cud with, gone in a second? Thousands of mornings, thousands of evenings, meals and drinks, consumed to keep the mind growing, learning, all gone, all wasted. In an instant, with what was once a life, nothing but a broken, shattered mess of humanity. A life gone, a baby born, a childhood of learning and exploring. A life of loves and losses, of relationships, of goodness and badness, of mysteries, of stolen moments, all gone in an instant. That person's unique perspective and understanding of the world. You find the words, and maybe you could help me find the cure for the scars in my head.
For once, Cornelius is lost for words. Meanwhile, back on the San Martin later that day, Sidonia, Levi, and Ricaldi are discussing tactics. We haven't even engaged with the enemy in any sort of conflict, and yet disaster is striking us. What news on San Salvador?
She's gone.
But how?
She exploded with such force that the sky was lit up for miles around, and 200 men, dead and wounded, were hurled into the sea. The remaining wreck has become such a blaze that the rest on board have perished.
But what caused such an explosion?
Some say it was an accident, others that it was done by an Englishman in a disguise. It has also been suggested there had been some quarrel, and that one of the parties flung a match into the magazine in a terrible rage before jumping overboard.
And how did we lose the Nuestra Senora de Rosario?
As she was performing a complicated turn, she came into a collision with the Santa Catalina and broke her own bowsprit. The fore topmast followed and the ship became an unmanageable wreck. She has 500 men on board, besides a considerable part of the money which had been sent for the use of the fleet.
We may have to abandon her.
To desert her and her officers would be an act of cowardice and dishonour.
Diego Flores says that to fight would be to risk the loss of the whole fleet, and Philip has directed me to be guided by him.
That's because he bears Don Pedro a grudge. For the sake of all of our honour, you must ignore him.
Abandon the ship. We have other things to do.
But Alonso...
Silence! I do the king's work, who likewise does the work of God. Do you doubt that, sir?
I stand corrected.
Ricalde?
Sir,
The English fleet is still some way behind and doesn't seem inclined to engage with us. We must continue heading up the channel.
but we can't expect to reach Parma without a battle.
We need to take the attack to the English. There's just not enough light by the rising moon. To see the English ships are drifting apart with the tide, galleasses should be sent out instantly to attack single vessels. The dawn will likely bring a freeze from the east, and then our galleons can support them.
But now that the English fleet is at sea, we have lost tactical initiative. Agreed, we have many mighty galleons. When it comes to engagement, the English have 5 rounds of cannon to 1 of ours. Their efficiency is greater. Because of our galleons are crowded with troops, in which shot and splinter create havoc.
So what are you saying?
That we need to, indeed, hurry up the channel. But we'll have to draw on our combined seafaring skill to keep the English at bay. But the men are itching for a fight.
They cannot understand why we've not engaged. Surely we are all burning with the same shame and indignation of Drake's attack on Cadiz and can't wait to repair our credit.
Patience is a virtue, Leyva. For now we will follow orders. We must make our priority the rendezvous with Parma. Issue orders that each ship should keep a position they are allocated. Any captain found out of his place will be hanged.
Are you sure that's a good move, Alonso? Such severity will be resented.
We do God's work. There will be no dissent. Meanwhile, back on board the Revenge, Drake and Jonas.
Are you sure we should continue? Lord Howard made it clear we're to follow his orders.
Experience has changed his mind. He sanctioned this, no one else must know. We'll take this ship to make sure the men are paid, then we'll let them fight the fight of their lives.
Yeah, we need to be quick.
Well, how much longer can it resist us? The smoke from the guns hides her and blinds me.
Yeah, she can't get away. Her bowsprit and foremast are gone. And here we are, pouring round until.
Have you demanded her surrender?
Yes, sir, but they demand good conditions.
To hell with conditions, who's the captain? Can anyone see the name of his ship?
It's Nuestra Senor del Rosario. The captain is Don Pedro de Valdez.
Valdez, one of Spain's finest officers. Good. His capture will take the heart out of Sidonia, their admiral. Ahoy there! Tell your captain that I would speak with him.
I'm Valdez. Please name your conditions. If honourable, I will consider them.
I have no time for parley. I must make haste. So hold down your flag.
Who is it that speaks?
It is Drake.
In that case, we shall surrender. Hold down the flag, men. I have no disgrace in surrendering my sword to you, sir. We had resolved to die in this battle, and would have done so, had we not fallen to one who's always generous to a foe.
Sir Francis Drake accepts your surrender.
Our first bounty.
So now to battle.
What is the plan?
During the night, most of the English fleet to sail close all to windward and going about from starboard tack to port has found itself windward of the Armada. Our surprise has been retrieved. The lightweight is out of its corner, ready instead to surprise the heavyweight from behind.
It's been made possible due to the good ships of Hawkins and by great seamanship.
By a gang of cutthroat pirates that serve their country's mistress. turns a blind eye to the distressful fact that these pirates are the same men who saves her from the Spaniards. The Armada has adopted an order based on that of armies on land. Their centre and focus is the crowded troops transport. In front of them, in a line abreast, sails Medina Sidonia, with the best war galleons of Spain and Portugal. The rearguard sails in 4 smaller squadrons, also in lines abreast. We must stop them reaching a port, for they are determined to blow out the flickering light of England.
Meanwhile, back at Richmond Palace, Elizabeth is having another dream, this time about the Duke of Anjou, Francis of France.
I had a friend who thought women were the answer to perfection, but he never found it. Perhaps I've been lucky instead.
Oh, I could have loved you, my little frog.
Come here, my darling, let me see your face. Cast off those white sheets that cover your skin, come to my person, let the white lace soft your body, let it shine. Don't fear the cold, for inside it is hot, in love with this companion of sweet grace. You are alone, but loneliness a lot of beauty gives, and such that I obey. My dearest, now that you are before me, I see a woman fair and beautiful, at whom I'll stare for as long as I can, before my eyes are blinded by the fall.
Oh, pray stop this glorious torture.
I love women. I love their sex, your pale skin, your body that moves its curves, and a subtle temptation leads desire on. Desire that makes man a liar, a complier with mischief. What will I find when I kiss you? Holding you, I have an incredible urge to be gentle with every part of your soul. I have lived such a life on instinct, and that instinct quickly just wants you. I'm a broad man, I'm a brash man, a loud man, and I find it difficult to express my inner feelings of warmth, but your sensuality and your dark eyes draw me to you, to be gentle with you.
Oh, I grieve and dare not show my discontent. I love, and yet am seemed forced to hate. I don't, yet dare not say I ever meant. I seem stark mute, yet inwardly do prate. I am and am not freeze, and yet I burn.
The dream ends as Leicester enters.
Are you okay, Your Majesty?
Oh, I'm not sleeping.
You need to start alert, Elizabeth.
Oh, but why? Why must I always take the lead?
For
Why
the
can't
love-
you take over? Let me just go back to
For the love of
sleep.
Jesus Christ, madam, awake and see the predicament we're in. We must defeat the Armada, or England will perish. The sinister hand of Philip is stifling the very core of our being. The cloth trade is in deep trouble. Its Spanish, Portuguese and Flemish markets are closed. The passage of goods into Germany is blocked because Parma commands the Rhine. Merchants have ceased buying from the clothiers, who have ceased buying from the weavers, who are beginning to starve. Before long, the wool growers will give up their pastures.
I know that, Lester. I do and am dealing with it. What I am not dealing with is the feeling that my life has been as a woman has been a lie. I have lived an unnatural life and been exposed to too much. I have witnessed the horrific waste of those who worship evil, who take delight in destruction, which goes with the knowledge that they have their terrible uselessness. I have known the slipperiness of love that deceives, and the breaking of my heart as those I have loved pass away from my life. I have been stretched to unbearable limits of deathliness in trying to subdue my soul to the rules I need to abide by.
It sounds like in questioning your life, you are pondering the existence of God in it. God who decides the path you must follow and the life you must lead. The lives that we lead. Surely I would do much to seek the happiness in this world, but I cannot feel that we are just humble observers of the changing skies. For we are doers, or we are watchers. And when it's thought, outwitted by action, often my struggling mind seems to be like the wings of some poor farmyard hen, which can only fluster in attentive flight. It is the burden of true arrogance, the prerogative of the warrior, and is enslaved as a hunting dog is to the hunter when ordered to retrieve. Without a halt on the way for a check or investigation of position.
So what do I do, Robin?
Find the words which are needed now.
Words?
The most powerful thing on earth. Inspire your people. Give them the strength to find courage.
Oh, will it help with my legacy, Robin?
Is that so important?
It's all I have left.
Then let me help you find the right words.
Thank you, Robin.
Of course you must.
You have always been honest with me, I know that.
I try.
Then tell me honestly, do you think we will stop the Armada from meeting up with Palmer?
Our ships have harassed it to Gradlon and are closing in. We shall have the answer shortly. But you must speak to the troops at Tilbury should the invasion reach our shores.
Meanwhile, back on the Revenge, Drake, Tremaine, Percy are in action.
Let the fleet know we're on our way, Jonas. Fire broadside from the bow. Run out the prime from the starboard bow, #1 gun. On my mark, discharge. 2, 3, 4. Lord Howard, the enemy has been engaged.
To your station, lads.
Are you ready for action, boy?
What am I meant to do?
Oh, you need to feed us to cannonballs.
Do exactly as we say and you'll be fine.
Oh, I'm going to be sick.
Oh, be sick now, then follow our commands.
Noise and smoke engulf the stage.
Fire!
Keep up, Cornelius.
I'm trying.
Keep firing, lads. They're no match for us.
We need more ammunition, Cornelius.
Cornelius is frozen in fear.
Cornelius, can you hear me?
He's lost it.
Oh, get out the way, boy. This is man's work.
I'll get it.
There's a blast that knocks them sideways.
Everyone all right?
All good here. Here's my ammunition.
Oh, I can't move, I can't move, I can't move.
It's only fear, boy. Get used to it.
Where did you get your courage from?
Looking at death in the face.
Oh, I'm too frightened to move.
Learn from us who live without an overriding fear of death, because acknowledging it makes us appreciate the fragile nature of our lives and just motivates us to make the most of every moment.
Without the constant risk of death, we die. But death is as much as is life. To fear death is to fear living, and in this hellhole, we need all the strength we can muster. The challenge is tyranny.
A medley of noise, smoke and confusion.
What news? A brave action, 2 ships lost. With what gain? The enemy continue to advance. Tighten the boat lines on the foresails.
Another medley of noise, smoke and confusion.
It's another 4 ships lost.
We must continue to engage and harass the enemy.
We've been decisively outgunned, Drake. We must fall back and defend the coast.
But since the wind is with us, we could send fire ships to the Spanish formation.
I agree. We can't get anywhere near him. God has given us a good day in forcing the enemy so far to leeward.
Yeah, I'll get 8 ships ready. Tar the mast and rigging and leave all the guns left on the board. Prime off the go, so when the fire reaches them...
In that case, unleash the descent into hell.
Meanwhile, back on the San Martin, the Calde and Sidonia. So far, the nuns and hermits' visions of our inevitable triumph have not been realised.
The English has dropped an anchor half a mile away. Lord Henry Seymour and his squadron of ships were patrolling the seas off Dunkirk have joined them, which has increased their size by a third, making us both equal.
Why are we failing, Recalde?
The ships the English have are superior to ours in speed and weight of artillery. To board them against their will is hopeless. The galleons which had no gentlemen on board are holding off, keeping out of range.
Inform the Duke of Parma. We are anchored here 2 leagues from Calais with the enemy's fleet on our flank. They can cannonade us whenever they like, and we shall be unable to do much harm in return. We need 50 ships to break out of Calais.
There is a fresh breeze blowing steadily from the English fleet, so conditions are ideal for a fire ship attack. They used these hell burners during the siege of Antwerp and killed over 1,000 men.
Do not panic and head out to sea. Our patrol ships will prevent an attack. Mayhem as the fire ships destroy the Armada, noise and smoke.
Most of our ships have broken formation and sailed into the open sea. They cut their anchors, making them easy targets. Some captains are trying to get to their ships in close so that their soldiers can board, but the ships are quicker and able to keep their distance.
I'm shocked by the size of the fire ships. We did not expect the English to use 8. Patrol ships were unable to act fast enough to deal with them. Our fleet is lost. On a windy cliff, I and my friends would walk the early morning and watch the waves as they broke on the rock below. They could subdue us with intrigue and wit to slaves. We hid in the hollows of windy sand dunes and pretended to fight armies of men from another country and whistled tunes while we sat in the rain until 10. In our tucked-in homes, we played games that were elegant in their delicious passing of time and wondered what was inferred when our hearts were secure with soft singing. Or straight to the rock pools we dashed and sat on the gradually drowning rocks that had little of their sunshine left and knew that it was our dominion not to be sad.
Are you well, my lord?
Just thinking of happier times and wishing I was 1,000 miles from here. Meanwhile, back on revenge below decks, Percy, Cornelius and Tremaine.
Well done, Cornelius. Keep the cannonballs coming.
I can hardly move. I'm sorry.
Oh, let me help you.
Percy moves over to where Cornelius has been. There is an explosion and he is wounded.
Percy! Percy!
Is that you, Tremaine?
Are you wounded?
I'm in bad. I'm dying.
Oh, here, take some water.
Oh. Let me kiss chaos before the fires of hell. Welcome passion. Timeless, spaceless, nothing. Oh, I will seek your turmoil. Broken wing. Take me sleep to sleep through black despair. The hole's a weapon. That may end it all.
Percy is delirious and dies.
He's dead because of me.
Oh, shut up, Cornelius. Are you wounded?
I am.
You'll need treatment. Come here.
I'm sticking to my station.
Are you sure?
Yes! I am. It's for Percy. I owe it to him.
In that case, take over his job and quick.
At Tilbury docks, Elizabeth takes centre stage and speaks to her troops.
My loving people, I have been persuaded by some who care for my safety to be cautious how I present myself to an armed multitude for fear of treachery. But I assure you I do not desire to live to distrust my faithful and loving people. Let tyrants fear. I have always believed that my chief strength and safeguard is in the loyal hearts and goodwill of my subjects. And therefore, I am come amongst you at this time, not for my recreation and disport, but resolved in the midst and the heat of battle to live and die amongst you, to lay down for my God, for my kingdom, and for my people, my blood and my honour, even in the dust. I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and the stomach of a king, and a king of England too, and pour scorn on Spain or Parma or any prince of Europe who shall dare to invade the borders of my realm. And rather than which any dishonour shall grow on me, I myself will take up arms. I myself will be your general, your judge, and your rewarder of all your virtues in the field. By your concord in the camp, and your valour in the field, we shall shortly have a famous victory over those enemies of my God, of my kingdom, and of my people.
Next to Elizabeth, enter Burley, Howard and Leicester.
Sir, I hear nothing of these victuals. Ammunitions are being made available. The English navy cannot pursue the Spaniards after the battle. The men are in such a state, and they're in dire need. They have been reduced to eating beans, while some men are drinking their own urine. Poor victuals are bleeding. They're breeding disease, and is ultimately of no saving to Her Majesty. We have been bereft of the chance of finishing the Armada once and for all.
And yet the Spanish are being scattered by the wind.
Yeah, which is luck in itself.
Not the best phrase.
Well, I mean, anything better?
The Armada was finally destroyed by a Protestant wind.
If you say so.
Gentlemen, you bring me news?
Your Majesty, the Armada has lost 4 great ships. There is no longer a fighting force. Hulls are leaking. Sailing gear is ruined and powder is lacking. With a safe port, it might have been refitted and tried again, but there is no such port, which was fatal in the defeat of Spain's plan.
The Armada's nearest port is in Spain, and they decided to return there, but not back through the Channel against the winds, and the English fleet, but northward, around Scotland, west, and then southwards by Ireland.
The Armada is breaking up. Its ships make their own speed, all separated. The wind grows strong, and they are all sinking from the battle, damaged or are harshly driven ashore. Their victuals are corrupted, and the men are dying.
So can we declare victory?
There's still a threat from Parma.
But
It is greatly diminished.
then it would seem that God has favoured us.
With a Protestant wind.
Exactly. A Protestant wind.
Back at the Escorial Palace, Philip and Isabella.
I have been defeated by a woman, mistress of only half a kingdom with the help of a corsair and a band of cutthroats.
Oh, please do not despair, Father.
But my heart is breaking, Isabella.
Things cannot be as bad as they seem, surely.
The Armada is lost and Parma can cross the Channel. God has deserted me. Perhaps he wants me to desert him. Perhaps there is no God. Perhaps there is nothing.
Anger is not the answer that your soul craves. You cannot destroy the world so quickly. A world you've had a faith in all your life. You, Father, are a true servant of the Lord. Look with your heart over the rainbow of love. Transcend Calvary Hill. Kiss the cross. And kiss the crucifix for your glory and your power.
I hear you, Isabella.
But what, Father?
I need to work.
Can we not rest?
It's what I do, Isabella. It's what I am. What you need to remember is that kings are instituted primarily to govern, to administer justice to their subjects, to defend those subjects from their enemies.
As your Majesty forgotten, you are to decide a judgment between the families of Descartes and Neostros this evening?
I had indeed forgotten. Someone who remembers so little and has his head so full as I do is no longer in possession of a reliable memory.
Are you sure you need to take the audience? You have so many, surely one can be missed.
The administration of Spain and its empire requires my attention to every detail, but big and small, to you and I, the wars we fight to keep our country safe and prosperous, and what absorb our worlds, but what does not mean we are any more important than the peasants who need my judgment to settle the disputes of this world.
But couldn't Clark sort these
No!
problems?
It needs the attention of a king.
Your Majesty.
Order clothes, food, medicine, whatever is needed to be sent down to Corunna and Santander. The widows and orphans of the dead sailors and soldiers must be sought out and pensioned at the cost of the state.
Back in the Minerva at Plymouth, Ruby and Tremaine are nursing a dying Cornelius.
How is Percy's widow?
She'll survive. She has to.
If I hadn't been such a coward, he'd be alive still.
But he's gone, and that's that.
I'm sorry I was such a coward.
No, you're not a coward, Cornelius.
How's the boy? Where is the boy?
He's not got long, has he, Ruby?
No, no.
Here, take a sip.
Thank you, Captain.
You did well.
We both know that. I was born as a coward, I lived a coward, and I shall die a coward.
A man is remembered by how he faces death.
Then stay with me as I pass. You know, Sir Francis, I think I understand your love of the sea.
Yeah. Even in the heart of the countryside, walking in a wet wood, looking at the mist, shaping themselves into strange, magical figures that stoop and bend, as if portraying some grand passion. Or listening to the rain hissing through the stirring trees that shudder like a huge whisper. The sea beckons me, and I long to stand on the poop deck feeling the spray, lashing over my wind-burnt face, soaking my complexion and caking it in salt, which the angry sun bakes to a crust. My ears search for the saw and crack of timber as it complains about its cruel fondling from the sea, and for the exciting cry from the lookouts of sighted land, wherein lies all possibilities of adventure.
It's where God truly reigns. For all man's energy and weight, he cannot fight God. God who controls the winds and the tides. God that rules the waves. And to put yourself at his mercy is the ultimate testament of faith.
Oh, try and settle, Cornelius.
Do you know, I like it here, Ruby. I really do.
Where?
In Plymouth. A strange, beautiful spot. Populated by a forest of masts, wafting forth the smell of tar and chalking, where right now you might hear the gentle lap of waves against the hulls. Sniff the bitter smell of bilge water and the odour of salt spray.
Oh, hush now, hush, hush.
I have a letter. It's for Deborah. Can you make sure she gets it? Can you read it, Ruby?
Die dancing for the gypsy queen, envelop in her folds. Be brave upon your heartless chest, or kiss the rings of gold. Rush roar away from the campfire's blues, away to the hills beyond. Hand step your way where witches flew in the silvering wood by the pond. Love her, but leave her, oh leave her and flee. Or only the fool will remain vanished and swift in the fog and the air, end every new wish with refrain. you and the embers, you only will know. On a dark, wispy evening long past, under the spell of a gypsy you fell. Oh, the glory that waned oh so fast. Deborah, I love you, oh.
Thank you, Ruby. Just one last question, Captain. Why is there fighting over two religions? Surely we all believe in God.
Because one is the true religion and the other is heresy.
Well then, perhaps there's no God. Perhaps there's nothing but our thoughts.